Well, welcome to Old Classic Car. Today we find ourselves at the wonderful Brooklands Motor Museum, home to motor racing before the war, and plenty going on still today. Here we've got a Morgan Aero Jap engine car racer. Let's have a look at information on the side. Raced at Brooklands from 1929 to 1935. Fastest speed of 116 miles an hour in 1934.
John Cobb and women like Kate Eater made their names touching 160 miles per hour on sprint. And mass cycle races drew huge crowds too.
What we got here? Rudge. So it's this 1922 998cc V-twin.
3,000 Hurricane fighters built at Brooklands helped win the Battle of Britain, while the 2,500 Vickers Wellington bombers constructed on site were a mainstay for bomb command.
Well, and look, today the Napier Railton is outside.
This seat we don't really we have to do a balance
Absolutely stunning car, the outer lap record holder.
I've only seen these two. How long's your leg? We should all be doing our gold medals. Now, if you don't mind explaining a bit so we can see it in the car. Do you want to do 2 and 2? We can do 2 and 2. Yeah.
So I can't see it on the website.
Inside one of the sheds we've got a 1938 halter. Very handy little car in its day. And then we've got an Elvis Special, the Clinkard Special from 1955. Several Grand Prix cars of the 1970s and into the 80s. Lots of memorabilia. And a lovely old Pathfinder pedal car, produced by the same people who did the Austin J40. These were only made for a couple of years or so. Pathfinder Special, 1949-50. Vintage Lagana. Got a vintage Napier Wooden frame for the roof.
Down there. Yeah, and then you just got the basic controls, and that's it.
Yeah. Using 3-speed gearbox.
Yes, just 3-speed.
No brakes on the front. An MGM type midget. What's this one here? Another one, another M type, I think, or is it not? If you could let me know in the comments what this particular one is. VC8174, and next to it is a Hillman Aero Minx. Very swish little car. Well, parked over here we've got the BRM V16. This is a Type 15, this is the Mark 1 with a larger air intake on the front. Duesenberg. Denny Hulme's Yardley McLaren from the late 60s, early 70s. We've got a Cooper T51. Something modern. Something else modern.
Would you like me to explain them?
Okay, you go for it then.
Well, that's obviously a McLaren. That's Kimi Raikkonen's car. That must be 2002 or 2003, not sure. That's Mercedes, and that's the V10 with the narrow wing and the.
You have to excuse me a moment.
That was nice, wasn't it?
Yes, just a bit. There's another one over there, another Merc over there.
Yeah, so that's, I'd say 2011 or 2012 with the snub nose, and then there's another one over there that's slightly narrower, so I'd say that's 2013, that one.
The wonderful smell of Castrol R. Alas, the camera won't pick that up. But wonderful old Bugatti. Which model is it? I'm not quite sure. It's got the aperture on the side of the bonnet for the supercharger, so I'm guessing it's a T35B with a Bugatti pedal car alongside. Another Bugatti being warmed up. It's a Type 37. There's a Samson light car. There's a very early Aston Martin. So this one's from 1921.
That reappeared adoption in 2022.
Jackie Stewart's old Tyrrell Ford.
Why don't you put it? Put it down there.
In here we've got an Austin 7 Special. Very nice indeed. PG3811. Not quite sure what that is. And here is a Singer 9 racer. This car was driven by Eileen Ellison. Work in progress, but another early Aston Martin. So this is 1924, so this is a couple of years later than the black TT2 that features elsewhere on the channel. MGPA. This one was delivered in 1935. Over here we've got the, let's have a look over here first, the front wheel drive Alvis. And BPL 48, which is a Railton Terror plane. If you've never been to the Brooklands Motor Museum, it's well worth calling in, just off the M25 junction 10 near Weybridge. Definitely worth a visit. An ancient Peugeot voiture and a Humber motorcycle of 1904.
Thomson Taylor, their workshop. This car was constructed here. One of the chassis with a big line engine in it, further. The ribbon, spirited style today. Addition to this car, much later on, that was not normally in place in cars of this era, that is disc brakes, which you'll see. This car was used for parachute testing at the end of its life. It was effectively just, at that point, an old racing car that nobody really wanted. Nobody really looked after old cars in those days, apart from the vintage sports car park. Including the sold out, race, broken out, used for parts, used for tractors, all sorts. That's a Napier Railton. It's one of the very well-rated.
Yeah, well, the Napier Railton's gone back undercover. So let's have a look, see what else is here. We've got a vintage Rolls-Royce, very swish indeed, Tourer. And a Dodge Brothers, a couple of years older than mine. Mine's a 24, this is about 1921-22, but the running gear chassis and everything will be the same. The body's slightly different. Another Aston Martin. RF 9922. And then a wonderful Dennis fire engine. Even commercial vehicles, you get everything here at Brooklands. This is a Morris of the early 1920s, I would guess. Not much driver protection back in those days. Open-sided cab, open window there, no glass in there. You've got a windscreen, so that's a slight luxury. There's the engine in there, big old side valve 4-cylinder unit. Wonderful cast radiator. There's the Lagonda we saw before. There's the old Bentley. Is this a 3 litre? The Lagonda, very swish indeed. And the Austin 7 Ruby has just turned up. These pedal cars look like a lot of fun. ERA. Lots of patina going on here.
My nephew went to but I had some trikes, so we went on that. I got off and went, never again. I hate it. Might have been different if I'd been behind the
The 196cc engine. And the Brooklands special. Part built example over here. An MG replica. The old aircraft hangar over there, the old hangar used to sit here. It was built during the war for aircraft construction, but this is the old start-finish straight, of which a fair chunk survived. So a few years ago, the main hangar was moved lock, stock and barrel out of the way so that the start-finish straight could be reopened, and that's what we've got here. That's where we just saw the Napier Railton running up a few minutes ago. There's a hangar there, we can have a look in there. There's quite a few aircraft here. You can just see the tail of a Vc10 over there. I think that's a Gulf Air Vc10. There's a Concorde around there as well, BBDG, which was one of the first to go into passenger operation, I think. Let's go and have a look at the cars parked up here near the banking, and then we can go and have a look at the banking itself. It appears to be raining, so we'll have to scoot along here a bit lively. We've got a Delahaye, wonderful, the Morris 8 Tourer, and the Bentley. What's this? A Fiat. Fiat Balilla, or Balilla. An AC. A Lee Francis, or a Lee G. Manchester, very nice. Related to the old Daimlers. Gorgeous Lancia. Post-war Bentley. A pre-war Rolls-Royce. It's raining properly now. Riley and a Jaguar XK150. Right, let's go and find some shelter. Oh, bailed out into the hangar while it's chucking it down outside. There's a Hawker Hurricane. This is a Hawk, similar to those used by the Red Arrows. And there's a Hawker Hunter at the back there, in Swiss colours. And here's a sectioned fuselage piece from a Vickers Wellington with a geodetic construction. You can see here, made it very strong and very resilient when it was being shot up. They could take quite a lot of abuse before they'd fall out of the sky, and that's what kept a lot of the pilots and crews safe. And here we've got a Hawker Fury, sort of used in the interwar years. This replica of a 504 was actually used in the film Aces High in 1976. There's the back end of the Hunter. Right, let's go and have a look at the banking. The original banking, much of which still survives. Some has now been lost to local development, housing developments, business parks, etc. But quite a lot of the old banking is still here. There's the bridge up there. And it's seriously steep. It may not look it from here, but if we try and clamber up the banking, it may just give an idea of just how steep this really is. Right, let's give it a go. Just imagine the cars thundering round here back in the 1920s. It's getting steep, looks quite slippery. This is the view the drivers would have had. If I go a little lower, it's amazing it survived at all, to be honest. It could have all have been lost during the war when the site was turned over to aircraft production. But fortunately, this was left largely untouched and survives to this day. So while you can no longer race here properly, because it doesn't go all the way around, it's not a full circuit anymore, you can at least demonstrate the cars, the Napier, etc. that used to run around here back in the days before the Second World War. We've got a bomb disposal Austin 7 van. We've got an AEC militant recovery wagon built late 53 or early 1954. Front end of a Viscount. Another Harrier up there. Hawker Hunter in storage, wings off. There's a rarity, the front end of the Vickers Valiant, the V-bomber, one of the 3 V-bombers that were built during the Cold War. The Valiant was the first of the 3 V-bombers to be retired from service due to cracks in the fuselage. And this, I think, used to be inside the stratospheric chamber at one time. Now it's on display here in the back of one of the hangars. There's an overhead view of the Wellington. It's been very much a long-term project here at Brooklands. If you watched the video I did at RAF Cosford a few weeks ago, you might recognise this. This is a front end of the TSR2. One of the star exhibits, certainly in the aircraft section, is Concorde Bravo Bravo Delta Golf. I remember seeing this flying into Manchester at least on one occasion back in the late 70s or early 1980s when I was an avid plane spotter at Manchester Airport, or the former Ringway as it used to be. And it sort of gradually over time it went out of use and it was sectioned and brought over here in pieces and reassembled at the Brooklands site. It's lovely to see it. Maybe one day it'll be undercover, who knows. Got the nav lights flashing on the wing. Rain is never very far away. If there's any spots on the lens, I apologise. Talking of Cosford, which I was before, this Vc10, again when I was young and impressionable, this Vc10 GARVM this was on display at Cosford, and then the whole collection of British Airways aircraft that used to be on display there got chopped up. Most of them went for scrap, but the fuselage of this particular standard VC10 was rescued and made its way down here to Brooklands, and here it is at rest at its former home. Well, from a preservation point of view, you want to see everything under cover, but with so many Concords hidden away now, it's actually nice to see one out in the daylight with the sun out, the blue skies, in its more natural environment, if you like, and it's just great to see them outside. Like I say, from a preservation point of view, you want them inside in an air-conditioned, humidity-controlled environment, but you can't really beat, from a visual point of view, seeing them outside with the sun behind them, as they would have been for so many years when they were in service. Let's have a quick look at the engines. Rolls-Royce Snecma Olympus 593s. Down to the business end, pointy end. Of course, the nose used to droop for landing. Couple of Land Rover products hiding away here. We've got a Range Rover, PE registration, fire and rescue service. Quite an interesting machine. And then we've got a Land Rover based ambulance, British Aerospace. I wonder where that was based. Sun's coming out. Lurking over here next to the VC10 fuselage is a Series 2 or Mark II Bedford CA. Is that a worker bus again, a bit like at the museum the other day? This one's in the colours of BOAC, the British Overseas Airways Corporation, which is appropriate for the aircraft that's alongside it, because whereas this is in British Airways colours, originally this VC10 would have also been in BOAC livery. That's a very bonny little Bedford CA. And we've got a passenger carrying bus of some description here. Not quite sure what that is, but I've never seen one before. K-Reg 1972. Big old DAF, not sure what that is. And then a 1966 Leyland Atlantean bus, also in the livery of BOAC. Hasn't seen a sponge in a little while, but it survives, that's the main thing. Have a quick look at the information sheet. It loses out somewhat in the glamour stakes compared to Concorde over there, but let's have a look at it. Leyland Atlantean 1966 double-deck airport coach. One of 15 high-speed double-deck coaches built in 1966 for services between BOAC's London Air Terminal at Victoria and Heathrow. Fitted with a non-standard Leyland 0.680 engine, these vehicles were capable of some 70 miles per hour. Wow. I don't remember the Leyland Atlanteans that I used to ride on as a kid doing 70 miles an hour, but maybe they could. Tucked away facing Concorde is an even rarer machine than that, and this is a jet-powered runway clearer. If you had snow, ice on the runway, you'd fire up this old beauty and do the business. It's got a jet engine in the back. you'd fire this up. I'm not quite sure what engine it is. But you'd fire that up. What does it say there? Avon. So it's a Rolls-Royce Avon. Okay. So you'd run this up. And you would duct the hot exhaust gases through the front here. And this would clear the runway for you. So like I say, if it was covered in ice and snow, you'd run this up and down and it would clear the runway for you. And that would last for the rest of the day. Tucked away in the corner, no one's really looking at it, but it's equally as rare as some of the other things here. Concorde's got his landing lights on. Of course, Brooklands was home to Vickers for many, many years. And as a result, we have the Vickers Vc10 over there. And we have another one over here, standard. They did the Super Vc10, which had a longer fuselage, but this is a standard version. This has been here for a long, long time. Steps there for BUA. They used to operate Vc10s, possibly this one back in its earlier days. British United Airways or Airlines. Another link back to Vickers and the Brooklands site. And over here we've got a BAC 111. British Airways, British Caledonian. Used to fly these regularly back in the 1980s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And then began to phase them out. I remember seeing these all the time. GA-SYD, Yankee Delta. I'll see if I can find the history of this particular airframe and pop it alongside the video. It's got a hush kit on it. The Rolls-Royce engines on these were made a bit of a racket. So eventually they put this hush kit on the back. I remember those very well. And then we have the Vanguard, or the commercial version. The cargo version was the Merchantman, but this was effectively the Vanguard Airliner. Another Vickers design, of course. It looks like the remnants of the colour scheme. It says Hunting Cargo Airlines. I remember these as air bridge carriers flying into Manchester back in the dim and distant past. What do we have over here? This looks a bit special.
That poor bloke that was fixed at the line by the Italians in 100.
Got a Vickers Viking. There was the Varsity and there was the Viking. One was a tail dragger, i.e. this one, the Viking. And the other sat on 3 sets of undercarriage. And there was the Varsity version, as used by the RAF. This is in lovely condition, this is. And that concludes our quick visit to the excellent Brooklands Museum. I wasn't able to record all the exhibits, but this video gives a taster of this wonderful old former motor racing venue. We were very fortunate to see the Napier Railton being push-started and given a brief demonstration. Mention also to the bus museum that now resides at Brooklands. Alas, my camera's memory card cried enough before we took a look at the buses, but I hope to feature them one day in a future video. Many thanks for watching. Please check out the other videos on the Old Classic Car channel, and more old vehicle content like this along very soon. Thanks, bye bye.